Wow, that pretty much said it all. Happy Wednesday morning to you. My name is Mark Haynes, and my friends and I were really glad to be here with you. I guess it's no secret what we're doing here. We're here to tell you about the Pan Am Games. But while we're at it, we're going to talk about the Para-Pan Am Games too. We're going to talk about how the Pan Am Games is one of the biggest sporting events in the world, right up there with the Summer Olympics. And we're going to talk about the sports that happen at the Pan Am Games and talk about the athletes that go to compete. We're going to talk about the countries where the games take place and the ones who send those athletes. And one more thing we're going to find out too is why these games are so important to these countries and to these athletes and to you. But before we get that ball rolling, I want you to meet my friends up here. Right beside me here playing the fiddle and got a smile like a summer morning, this is Celia Keown. Make her feel welcome. And beside me, playing the rhythm on this box, which just goes to prove you can get music out of anything if you try. This is John Gallant. And over playing the piano, my good friend, what's his name again? Brad, the coach, Fremlin. Say hi to the coach. Oh yes, 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 we're going to talk about the Pan Am Games. Yes, 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 we're going to take you up to the Pan Am Games. All right. Okay. Oh. That's Patchy. That's the mascot of the Pan Am Games. A little trademark there. Hi, Patchy. We've done some shows for kids a lot younger, so we like to put him in too. Let's talk about the Pan Am Games. Okay. Pan Am Games are a big festival of competition sports. In other words, it's an international track and field day. And athletes representing their home countries, they come to compete playing games like soccer and basketball and water polo and track and field and swimming and fencing, just to name a few. When I first heard of the Pan Am Games, I wondered, gee, why they were called that. The Pan Am Games and the Para-Pan Am Games. So I looked it up, and it seems that they're really called the Pan American Games, but that got shortened down. I'm going to tell you the whole story here. This is a map of the world. Y'all know that was what it looks like. The part over there on the far right-hand side is the Eastern Hemisphere. This part over here on the left-hand side is the Western Hemisphere. Huh? Right. Now, it's the countries from the Western Hemisphere that send their athletes to compete at the Pan Am Games. Countries all over the world from both hemispheres send their athletes to compete at the Olympic Games. That's something different. The Pan Am Games are just for the countries from the Western Hemisphere. Let's talk about hemisphere for just a second. John, if you would. We all know that the world is round, right? Shaped like a ball, right? Another name for a ball is a sphere. Good. And a hemisphere is just half of a sphere, or half of a ball, or in this case, half of the earth. So on the big, beautiful blue ball called the earth, like I said, we have the Eastern Hemisphere and we got the Western Hemisphere. Oh, now here's a map of the Western Hemisphere. And you see all the countries in there. You see they're labeled. Part of the, there's two areas. There's South America down there at the bottom and North America at the top. And Canada fits beautifully right in there in North America. And way out on the east coast of Canada, there's something, you can hardly see it on this map. There's a beautiful little island called, yeah, no place like it, Prince Edward Island. So now we got South America, North America. Notice the am sound at the first of the name, America. Huh? I looked up the word pan in the dictionary, got several definitions. One definition was including everything, or including everyone, or all the things that are inside something. So I think that the people who named the Pan Am Games, they took the am sound as in North America, South America, and they took the word pan as in all the countries in North America, South America. Put those two things together, stuck the word games on the end, and you come up with Pan Am Games. Good for you. Try saying that 10 times fast. Pan Am Games, Pan Am Games, Pan Am Games, Pan Am Games. You don't have to do it now. You try later at home when nobody's listening. It makes you want to smile, though. So now, the Pan Am Games invites athletes from the lowest part of South America, way down here, to the highest part of North America, way up there. And they come and compete. For 1 minute, I want to talk to you about an athlete, a young athlete from the country of Puerto Rico. And Puerto Rico is an island in the Caribbean Sea. Celia, give us a point to where Puerto Rico is over there. Yeah, there's the Caribbean Sea, smack dab in the middle between North America and South America. And Puerto Rico is an island of brightly colored flowers and lively Spanish-flavored music. And it's also one of the countries that sends its athletes to compete at the Pan Am Games. They call me Amanda San Diego. Well, that's the name my father gave to me. And my home is called Puerto Rico. It is an island floating in the deep blue sea. And as a boy, I can remember racing the waves that were crashing on the beach. And then running became what I lived for, to feel the earth moving beneath my feet. And I was running, yes, I was running. Oh, I was running for neither fortune or fame. Before my running is all for nothing, I will be running just the same. I will be running just the same. If I was asked, I could not explain this obsession. Oh, but with every step, it took hold of me. And then with every breath, it grew into a passion for me to be the best that I could be. They say I'm fast, I run like the wind blows. They say I run like I got wings on my feet. And all across the island of Puerto Rico, there was no one faster than me. And I was running, yes, I was running. Oh, I was running for neither fortune or fame. And for my running is all for nothing, I would be running just the same. I will be running just the same. Have you ever wondered what it'd be like to be a full-time athlete? Have you ever wondered what it would take to be a full-time athlete? Have you ever wondered, could I be a full-time athlete? Well, I believe you could. I wondered what someone had to do to be a full-time athlete and get so good that you could go and compete at something like the Pan Am Games. So I looked it up. First thing they said, if you want to be a full-time athlete and work like that, you got to pick a sport. Sound obvious to me, except for the fact Like the song that we're singing about the young runner from Puerto Rico. He loves to run. He was born to run. But there's a lot of sports that involve running. You gotta run to play basketball. Gotta run to play soccer. Gotta run to play baseball. So you see, you gotta pick a sport. You better pick one you like. Because in order to get that good, you're gonna have to be working at it for a long time. If you wanna be great, it's even gonna be a longer time. It'd also be a good idea to pick a sport that you could work at close to home. I mean, an athlete from a hot, sunny South American country where they get no snow and might have a little bit more of a harder time becoming a great downhill skier, for instance. More likely that he'd become a great swimmer or a great runner or a great soccer player or something like that. So you pick a sport, pick a place to train, start working, start studying. There's a few other things you gotta do too, but you gotta start working. You gotta start studying, working.
I love to run. When I'm running, I feel great. To feel the fresh air on my face and the ground beneath my feet, and to know with each breath, I'm getting stronger and faster. I love to run.
Hi.
Oh, hi.
I've been watching you run for a while now. You're pretty good.
Thanks.
I mean, you're really good. You have a lot of endurance, you're fast, and you run like you love it.
I do love it.
Well, have you ever thought about becoming a full-time athlete, competing and one day running for Puerto Rico at, say, the Pan Am Games?
I mean, it's been a dream of mine since I was young, but I wouldn't know where to start.
Well, I could help you. Would you like to talk about it?
Sure.
Well, as you know, I'm an athletic coach and I help young athletes reach their potential. Now, you're good, but I could help you become great. I could teach you how to run faster and longer and become smarter and stronger.
All right. What's it gonna take?
Well, we would have to start a strict training program, and you would have to trust me to give it my best every time, and I would have to trust that you would do the same for me.
I can do that. What else you got on there?
Well, we would have to try and get you some money for while you're training and studying.
How would we do that?
We could fundraise a little bit, maybe get the help from the government and some private sponsors. Oh, and you'd have to join the NGB.
The NGB?
Yeah, it stands for National Governing Body. They make the rules for your sport and organize competitions.
Oh.
And then we would start competing. You think you're ready?
To be honest, it sounds like a lot of work.
It is a lot of work, and it's a long and rough road to the Pan Am Games. But you'll have lots of people to help you along the way. And if you love what you're doing, then it won't seem like work. Best of all, you get the opportunity to be the best you can be.
All right, I think I'm ready.
And soon others around me shared my vision in believing that my dream could be, and they would aid me in a higher mission for me to be the best for all the world to see. And I'm running, yes, I am running. I'm running for my family, running for my name, and I'm running for my country. I am running my way to the Pan Am Games. I am running my way to the Pan Am Games. I am running my way to the Pan Am Games. So like I said, the Pan Am Games, one of the biggest sporting events in the world. And athletes from all over North and South America who are the best at what they do, they come to compete for medals of, you know, gold for first place, Silver for second place. Bronze for third. That's right. The first Pan Am Games were held in Dallas, Texas. That's a city in the United States. And they were held in, let's see, it was 1937. And they got off to a rough start, and they had to be postponed for a couple of years because of world events. But in 1951, they officially got underway in Buenos Aires, Argentina. That's a city in South America. And since then, they've been held in Mexico City, Mexico, and Chicago, Illinois, USA, and Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada, and San Juan, Puerto Rico. You know, countries that send their athletes to compete at the Pan Am Games, especially the ones that win the medals, they stand to gain worldwide recognition. And that could potentially help them with everything from tourism to world trade. And on any given year, athletes will come from Antigua, Barbuda, Argentina, Aruba, Bahamas, Barbados, Belize, and Bermuda, Bolivia, Brazil, and the British Virgin Islands, and Canada. Yes, and the Cayman Islands, Chile, Colombia, Costa Rica, Cuba, Dominica, Ecuador, El Salvador, Grenada, Guatemala, Guyana, and Hades, and Honduras, and Jamaica, and Mexico, and Netherlands, and Tunis, and all these countries, and a few more I will name. They all come to play at the Pan Am Games. Yeah, they all come to play at the Pan Am Games. Nicaragua, Panama, Dominican Republic, St. Lucia, St. Kitts, Nevis, and Peru, Paraguay, St. Vincent, and the Grenadines, Suriname, Uruguay, and little Puerto Rico, and the Virgin Islands, Trinidad, and Tobago, and from Venezuela, and the United States. They all come to play at the Pan Am Games. Yeah, they all come to play at the Pan Am Games. Oh, they all come to play at the Pan Am Games. They all come to play at the Pan Am Games. Woo! Did we leave any out? Let's talk about the Para-Pan Am Games for a minute. Para-Pan Am Games. They're a similar set of games held in the same place right after the Pan Am Games, where athletes with physical disabilities come and compete for the same medals of gold, silver, and bronze. The word para has several definitions. I looked it up. One meaning side by side or beside. And also para is part of the word paraplegia, which means you can't move something, like being paralyzed in your arms or your legs. And now in the title, the Para-Pan Am Games, it stands for competition sports for athletes with special disabilities. And I'll tell you, para-sports are a great thing because now young disabled men and women have the opportunity to be the athletes that they were meant to be. The first Para-Pan Am Games were held in Mexico City in 1999. And since then, they've just continued to grow in popularity until this year in Toronto at the 2015 Para-Pan Am Games. They're going to set a record for hosting the most para-sports ever. There's going to be 1,300 athletes coming to compete in 15 different sports, and that includes archery, cycling, soccer, judo, powerlifting, wheelchair rugby, wheelchair tennis, wheelchair basketball, and that you get the idea. That's just a few of them. You know, para-athletes compete with the same amount of drive and the same amount of determination and the same physical output as Pan Am athletes, and that makes para-sports every bit as exciting as able-bodied sports. Well, in para-athletics, in the foot races, for instance, they're just as fast as the Pan Am foot races, and it's amazing when you think that they're done on artificial limbs like this. Just amazing. And para-downhill ski racing is every bit as fast and as challenging and breathtaking to watch because lots of times it's done on one leg. Wheelchair rugby is rough, and it takes a ton of muscle to play it, while wheelchair tennis, you got to be surprisingly quick, and it requires the same stamina and the same concentration as regular tennis. Now, wheelchair basketball requires the same ball skills as regular basketball, except the upper body and the arms are doing double duty as they got to move the ball and the chair around at the same time. Wheelchair basketball. Well, far back as I can remember, she was living in 75 years ago. Back in those days, there was only two teams. There was the Montreal Wiltshire Wanderers and the Dueck Power Glides from British Columbia. It was amazing to think that those people had the foresight to imagine the future possibilities of this great sport. Wheelchair basketball continued to grow through the 1960s, 1970s, and the 1980s, and the teams featured players like Rick Hansen, Terry Fox. In 1986, Canadian wheelchair basketball featured a women's division. Since then, it's been straight up for the Canadian national women's team. Do you know that the Canadian national women's wheelchair basketball team is the only team in history to win 3 Paralympic gold medals in a row? And 3 world championships in a row. And just last year, they won the world championship yet again. I think without a doubt, the Canadian national women's wheelchair basketball team absolutely hand down, flat out rules. Well, you know she was the most determined little girl that you ever have seen. She's been playing wheelchair basketball since she was 13. Every day that she came one row closer to living her dreams was the day they called her up to the national team. And she's rolling, yeah, rolling, rolling, and she's never gonna stop. She's rolling, rolling, rolling all the way up to the top. So this summer, 2015, the Pan Am Games and the Para-Pan Am Games going to be held in Toronto, Ontario, no place like it, Canada. And it's going to be one of the biggest sporting events that the city of Toronto has ever seen. I'm going to tell you how big it is. There's going to be 7,600 athletes, that's just the athletes alone, that are going to be coming from 46 different countries to compete in 65 different sports. You know that the games are going to go on for over a month. They're going to start on July the 15th and July the 10th and go right through to August the 15th. They're going to need 20,000 volunteers to help. And it's going to cost the city of Toronto $1.4 billion to put these games on. Ton of money. But you know, a city and a country will pay that because when you think about the people who are going to be coming to see the Pan Am Games, they're going to be buying tickets, they're going to need places to stay, so all the hotels are going to be full, they're going to need to eat, so the restaurants are going to be stuffed, they're going to need to get around, so they're going to be, you won't be able to get a taxi or maybe get on the bus. All these people also are going to be shopping in shopping centers, shopping in shopping malls, who knows what they're going to be spending their money on, but it's going to be very, very good for business in Toronto. Plus which, the city of Toronto is going to have its name mentioned in every television, sports broadcast, radio, broadcast on the net, all around the world, every day for at least 37 days, plus all the lead up and plus all the wind down. It's going to be huge. And along with all these athletes, the 7,600 athletes that are coming, you know, they're going to bring coaches, right, coach? And they're going to bring trainers, and they're going to bring representatives from the countries that they come from. There's going to be officials, there's going to be referees. Who knows who else, and all these people are going to need a place to stay. So the city of Toronto has built an entire athletes village right downtown, complete with high-rise apartment buildings, recreational centers, and parks. When the games are over, the city of Toronto is going to use these buildings and facilities for affordable housing and new condominiums and a new YMCA and housing for George Brown College students right downtown. I think it's just amazing. And all these new arenas that are being built, and all these fixing up of all the existing arenas and sport venues for the Pan Am Games. It's just great because like with the Athletes Village, when the games are over, all these facilities are going to be used for people like us who want to go there and play and get more physically active, get more physically fit. And there's going to be cities other than Toronto, around Toronto, that also are going to be holding sporting events. Cities like, Markham and Niagara Falls. You heard of Niagara Falls. Hamilton and Oshawa. I mean, imagine this. You know how big the Air Canada Centre is in Toronto, where they have professional hockey games? You know, you've seen it on TV, right? The Leafs play in there. Maybe you don't watch the Leafs, it's okay. But anyway, you know that. So a big place like that, how many people fit in the Air Canada Centre for a hockey game? Did you say 20,000? Oh, well, 20, anyway, if you did, you're right on, because it's about 20,000 people, 19,000 plus for one hockey game. Now imagine 30 arenas like that in the city of Toronto and around the city of Toronto, holding sporting events all day long for 37 days. It's going to be huge, absolutely huge, and people are going to be coming from all over. They're going to come from across the province, from across the country, around the world. Well, I come from a place called PEI, and ever since I was 3 feet high, I like playing hockey and soccer too. Yes, and any game you play and you run in shoes. My dad played all the sports when he was young, and he says, go on out there and get it, son. He liked watching all the games that are on TV. He's a big fan, and he's just like me. Well, my dad's got a cousin up in Scarborough. It's a suburb of Toronto, and he says this summer that we are gonna go up to the Pan Am Games. Oh yes, 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 we're going up to the Pan Am Games. Yes, 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 we're going up to the Pan Am Games. We've been talking all about it and been reading online, and the more I think about it, I get shivers up my spine. It's gonna be the best thing we've ever seen. When we get up to Toronto to the Pan Am Games. My dad's got a cousin up in Scarborough. It's a suburb of Toronto, and he says this summer that we are gonna go up to the Pan Am Games. Oh yes, 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 we're going up to the Pan Am Games. Yes, 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 we're going up to the Pan Am Games. Oh well, the days are getting warmer and the sky's getting clear, waiting all winter for spring to be here. Come summer, Dad says, hey, we're gonna go up to the Pan Am Games. We're gonna load up the car, gonna pack up some food, gonna load up my mother and my sister too. Gotta take it easy, it'll take a day or two to drive up to Toronto to the Pan Am Games. My dad's got a cousin up in Scarborough. It's a suburb of Toronto, and he says this summer that we are gonna go up to the Pan Am Games. Yes, 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 we're going up to the Pan Am Games. Yes, 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 we're going up to the Pan Am Games. People are gonna be coming from everywhere.
Have you read what it says in this brochure? It says here that the opening ceremonies will be one of the biggest and most spectacular shows you have ever seen. It says each country that hosts the Pan Am Games puts on a bigger show than the last one. It says when they were held in Guadalajara, Mexico, the opening ceremonies cost up to $20 million to put on. They had fireworks, rock bands, traditional dancers, modern dancers, singers, musicians, lasers, and get this, they had equestrian choreography.
What's equestrian choreography?
It's like horse riding, but with music.
Oh.
Well, the opening ceremonies, I can't wait to see all the players come parading through the gates. The torch and the flame and the fireworks too. All for the start of the Pan Am Games.
There's gonna be so much to see. Look at this. There's archery, badminton, baseball, athletics.
Athletics?
Athletics? It's like track and field.
Oh.
We could see basketball, beach volleyball, BMX, and bowling.
And look here, there's kayaking, boxing, canoeing, and road cycling.
And track cycling, diving, equestrian, and fencing.
Field hockey, soccer, golf, and gymnastics.
And rhythmic gymnastics, handball, and judo.
Karate, pentathlon, and open water swimming.
Well, and if that's not enough, the Para-Pan Am Games got archery, boccia, and road cycling.
And it also says there's going to be track cycling, football, and goalball too.
And judo, powerlifting, sitting volleyball, and swimming.
Table tennis, wheelchair basketball, rugby, and tennis. And you know, I heard of a runner from Puerto Rico who's supposed to be really fast. I've got to see him.
I've got to see the women's wheelchair basketball. They have always been great.
Let's have a hand for our tourists, our sports fans, Celia and John, on the way to the Pan Am Games. Yes, and then when all the games begin, some will lose, some may win. Let everybody still win the best they can. When you see them playing in the Pan Am Games. My dad's got a cousin up in Scarborough, it's a suburb of Toronto, and he says this summer that we are gonna go up to the Pan Am Games. Oh yes, 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 we're going up to the Pan Am Games. Oh yes, 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 I'm a in the Pan Am Games. Yes, 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 we're going up to the Pan Am Games. Yes, 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 oh, the Pan Am Games. Yes, 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 we're going up to the Pan Am Games. Yes, 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 I'm there in the Pan Am Games. Turn around now. All right. Thanks. You know, the athletes who compete at the Pan Am Games, they're working at the top of their physical and mental capabilities. They bring years of dedication and hard work to every game, every event. And watching these athletes, you can easily see that these are people doing the best at what they do. They're being the best at what they do. And watching a great display of physical accomplishment, you can't help but be inspired. I mean, have you ever watched an awesome athlete doing something really amazing, said to yourself, wow, I'd like to be able to do that too? Yeah, of course you have. I've done it myself. Inspiration is a great, great feeling. Now you take over 1 million people who are going to be coming to the Pan Am Games, watching these great physical feats and these people, these who are watching this, being inspired in themselves to want to be more active and more physically fit and more creative and more self-assured and more confident. Some actually being inspired to their own feats of great physical accomplishments. Well, I think you could say that the Pan Am Games were the start of a new chain of inspiration, creating people who are ready to lead healthier, happier lives and build healthier, happier communities. People who are ready to show respect for themselves and respect for each other and respect for the schools and rinks and pools that are all available to them to enable them to lead these healthier and happier lives. Yeah, you know, maybe you're thinking, well, I'm not sports-minded. That's all right, yeah. Some people aren't, and that's really okay. Some people don't want to be athletes. That's fine. It's actually, it's great because it takes all kinds to make a world. But it doesn't matter whether your thing is sports or maybe it's science or maybe it's music or maybe it's art or maybe it's building things or fixing things or computing things or growing things or maybe some kind of thing that nobody's ever even thought of yet. Or whatever it is, that thing you decide to do, you should let the values of the Pan Am Games be an inspiration to you to whatever it is you do, be the best that you can be. Do the best you can do. Be the best that you can be. But before I do, I want to thank you for having us. And I want you to recognize one more time the people who have come with me to be with you here this morning. Playing the piano one more time. Brad, the coach, Fremlin. John Gallant playing the box. Celia Keough playing the fiddle. Thomas Spears, who's been running the sound for it. Marika Haynes, who's been working the PowerPoint. Debbie Atkinson from the Festival Small Hall. Ian McCarville, who's been helping out. Thank you, Troy, for having us. We've had a great time, and I hope we can come back and do it again sometime. And in the meantime, when you think of this, or when you hear mention of the Pan Am Games, let it be a reminder to you to do the best you can do. That's simple. Always do the best you can do. Be the best you can be. Thanks again. So long. Keep thumping while we take a bow.